I've said in many of our Back to the Basics shows that everyone who boats on open waters or large lakes and reservoirs should have an operational VHF radio with a good antenna. It's the easiest, quickest way to call for help, plus you have the advantage of hearing contemporaneous weather broadcasts for that area. Now, when you're shopping for a marine radio and antenna, don't scrimp. A good radio will cost under $200 and it'll be waterproof, not water resistant. And buy the best antenna you can find as well. An antenna with a gain of 6 or 9 dB is quite sufficient. And remember, a great radio connected to a low quality antenna equals marginal communications. Now, installing one is not difficult at all. First, select a location that's easy for the helmsman to access and a place where you can clearly hear the speaker while the boat's running. Now, obviously, a place that's out of the weather is a +2. You also need to select a location for the antenna, and it should be mounted to provide the greatest height above the water. VHF radio transmissions are line of sight, and the higher the antenna, the greater your transmit and receive distance is. Also, get a quality antenna mount that allows you to raise and lower the antenna and attach it where the antenna is out of the way both when you're using it and when it's folded down for traveling. You may need to drill a hole for the antenna cable, and most cables come terminated with a small connector, so you can drill a smaller hole, then screw on the connecting adapter that goes to the antenna or the back of the radio. So be sure to put a rubber grommet around the antenna cable as well, where it enters the hole to prevent water from coming in, as well as protect the cable from abrasion. Now, once you've determined where you want your radio to be mounted, the next step is to position the mount over that place, mark your holes where you're going to be drilling, and then drill the holes. But before you do that, I always suggest using a piece of masking tape over the area you'll be drilling in. Now, what this does is it helps to prevent gel coat from chipping as you're drilling, and also it's a little bit of a safety guard, so in case your drill bit might slip when you're positioning it to drill, you don't scratch the gel coat. Now, let's see. Oh, those are nice clean holes. Now, another thing I recommend also is to use a countersink bit on top of the holes for just a little bit, and that way, whenever you begin to insert the screw, it won't pop out or crack the gel coat right here at the screw hole. Just a little bit, that's all it takes. There we go. Now we can put the mount on. Now, it's always a good idea to put a little bit of silicone seal on the threads of each screw before you put it into your gel coat. This helps to prevent and keep any moisture from dripping down into the hole there, because this is going to be mounted on the outside of the boat. And it adds a little bit of the ability to keep the screw down in the hole whenever when you're moving. It keeps your screws from backing back out on you. I also like to use a real screwdriver as opposed to a power drill or a power screwdriver, because I can feel whenever the screw starts to bite well. And there we go. That one's in. Okay. A little bit of silicone on this guy here. And right down in the hole. There we go. All right, that looks like it'll do just fine there. Now, I've already installed the antenna at the stern of the boat, and I've got it on a ratcheting mount so that the antenna can raise and lower for travel. Now, all I have to do is connect the power and the antenna coax connection up through this hole right here. The previous owner had some electronics up here, so I'm using this same hole that he had there, and I'll come back and eventually cover this up with a little clamshell cover to keep the weather out of that. I'm going to connect the antenna right back here on the back of the radio. And then my connections here are somewhat waterproof, and again, I'll be able to take the radio off whenever I leave the boat for an extended period of time by just simply disconnecting the antenna connector here and these two power connections, black to black. There we go, and red to red. That's good. Now all I have left to do is put a mic clip for the microphone right here on the side of the console, and I think we'll be good to go.